Колеги, вітаю!
Dear colleagues, welcome. This session will be very focused because it's been planned as a wrap-up lecture for the mentors of the Ukrainian Venture Fund and Celeb Ukraine. We've got for about 50 mentors, and our long-lasting program started in February 2026. Its objective was to train, to build on capacity, to support mentors who accompany impact businesses, social enterprises, and women-led enterprises. The program was very intensive, and today we are going to wrap it up. So, in the end, we are going to conduct a practical workshop dedicated to the topic of foreign investors' expectations. We have to understand what investors are looking for and what they are triggered by. So this is generally the overview of international experience. All of you have the experience in pitching your companies, but today we will discuss your business through the international or global experience lens. We will have to discuss two practical cases. Many thanks to our wonderful teams consisting of our graduates, by the way, and during the last 30 minutes, we will give the awards, so we will give their certificates. And not everyone is going to receive a certificate, but only those who completed the homework, who attended the major part of the sessions, and that was the prerequisite. Now I'd like to check with Martin if everything is okay. Martin wants me to speak a little bit more. Okay. What about other sessions that you have attended? Have you learned anything useful? Yes? And have you learned anything not so useful? Unfortunately, we don't hear without the mic.
We haven't yet received certificates, so it's better to say a good thing, because who knows what may happen. Maybe they won't give you a certificate. I know, no, I'm joking. I saw the stats. No, I mean, we're just trying to connect three other colleagues. Martin, they are also impact investors. You will give us some feedback, they will share their feedback, and we will see. Well, I'm not going to introduce ladies, because first of all, you know them, you know most of them, and if you don't know them, those who work in the acceleration programs attended this year, and the year was in 2023. 2024, I'm sorry. Martin? Good.
I think that we can start. In case they will not join, then you and Volker will... yes, you will provide the feedback. You are the part of the process.
Okay, first question to the technical staff. Am I able now to enter the presentation?
1 second.
Okay. No, it's no, my presentation, not this.
Презентація Мартіна, будь ласка. Остання версія.
Martin's presentation, last version, please.
Yeah, I saw it too. I'm glad we didn't have breakout sessions. That would have made everything more complicated. We still can't see it. Yeah, this one. Okay, thank you. Okay, I think I'm audible. Thank you very much, first of all, to give me the opportunity to moderate this workshop. I'm here for the third time. I was at the first meetup and the third meetup in the past 2 years, and I'm really glad to see how the local ecosystem is evolving. My name is Martin Vogelsang. I'm the founder of Social Synergy Deutschland, and what I'm going to do today is to moderate a conversation where we invite investees as well as investors into the world of how investors are thinking, what's going on when they evaluate a presentation. We have invited two startups. One is VR Mentality, and the other one is Bank of Memories. We will go into more details afterwards. And in order to evaluate those two presentations that will be part of today's workshop, we invited three investors. One of them can be seen on the stage. It's Volker Weber. Two others are joining us. Thank you, Volker. He came all the way from Germany with me from Sunday to Monday. And then we have two more colleagues who are currently sitting in Berlin. One is Manuela Fritsch, and the other one is Benjamin Wiedeking. Manuela, Benjamin, I don't know if you're online. If you are, please, maybe you give a sign that you are here with us. That's not a good sign.
Немає їх онлайн, ті, хто в Zoom?
Are they on Zoom? Could you please check it?
Oh, well, then I think we have to just do it
Martin,
without them.
can Tanya use your phone? She will send the new link to Manuela.
We did it 3 times.
It will be the final. I think that she just want to, to use your data. Okay, I'm joking. Martin, I'm joking. I'm joking. I think that because we're trying to connect Manuela and Benjamin, Volker, can you please introduce yourself a little bit? Why you are here, why you decided to come to Ukraine. I know that it's your first time, because actually I mentioned you without mentioning your name today from the main stage, but please, I think that it will be interesting.
Thank you very much for having me here. Why I'm here, and that's a good question, because I'm very interested in the impact scene all over Europe. I'm in the social sustainability and impact scene since 25 years, working as an asset manager in Switzerland and then in Germany, worked for well-known German families to install impact in their behavior and their investment cases. I lead the German Sustainability Investment Forum for about 17 years, and I was in this advisor committee for the German government and also in the advisor committee for the EU Commission in 2017 to install this EU Action Plan on Sustainable Growth. That was one of my highlights. Next to me is sitting Werner Hoyer, the president of the European Investment Bank, and 3 places over them, Emmanuel Macron, who announced this plan at the 22nd of March in 2018. It was a highlight, I say. But the other highlight was that the German government hasn't to say anything. Macron speaks an hour, and the German government, this former Chancellor Olaf Scholz, say nothing. And that was the problem of the development of sustainability also in Germany. So I'm very happy to be here, to have some experience here in Kiev. Thank you for inviting me. And now, Martin, give me a sign. Everything is okay.
Thank you. So coming back to what I originally was asking, Manuela and Benjamin, in case you're online now, could you please give a brief sign and tell us that you're here?
Hurrah!
Great.
Yes, hello, finally.
Fantastic. So,
from Germany.
yeah, thanks. So that's what I like, if people are able and technically able to overcome these kind of thresholds. So now we have the panel complete, and after Volker just introduced himself, I might want to give the floor to Manuela first to briefly introduce herself. She's one of the panelists when it comes to evaluating the startups. Manuela.
Yes, hello, and again, warm greetings from Germany. Thanks for inviting me. Yes, my name is Manuela. I've been supporting Social Synergy Deutschland for quite some years now because I've known Martin from the impact investing ecosystem here in Germany. My background actually is in international development finance and in impact finance. I worked for large organizations just like German KfW, but very recently I've also worked for startups myself. So I actually know where you've been and where you are at the moment. So it's just like being a mother sometimes, doing literally 25 things at the same time. Yes, so I'll keep it short because we've already lost some time. If you feel, then please don't hesitate to connect. But I'm really looking forward because this space is for you and we are very happy to support you as the Ukrainian ecosystem.
Thanks. Manuela.
Thank you.
And Benjamin, I don't know that long, but the few conversations we had already were highly valuable for me. And I was really pleased to hear that he was immediately interested in joining this panel today, into this workshop. So Benjamin, if you would be so kind to briefly introduce yourself.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Martin. Thank you for having me here. My name is actually, well, you can just call me Ben. That's shorter and easier. I am currently partner of the Early Bird Vision Lab, which is an incubator and a small fund for startups with migrant founders in Germany. So if any of the startups have an intention of actually moving their headquarters to Germany, this is a possible platform to start their business out of Germany. Before that, I've done my MBA and MA in International Studies in the US. And then I have to address this, if anybody checks my LinkedIn profile, I have lived and worked for 20 years in Russia. This was at a time when we all thought it was going to be a democracy, it was going to be a developing market economy. There was a lot of optimism, there was a lot of hope that things would develop in a positive way. As we now know, they didn't, and I deeply regret what is happening, and I hope there's a way to support Ukraine in the current situation and Ukrainian business people. That's why I'm here.
Thank you very much to both
you.
of you. If you could please turn to the presentation, which I'm going to lead you through. I understand that we have already lost quite some time, and trust
That's
me.
okay. We have plus 10 minutes.
Okay, good. Then I will still try to stay short because I understand that this morning was a lot about panels and conversations, which in some cases were quite high-level, academical. What we want to do now is to really enter into some practical examples, and we will also try to introduce you as much as we can into the conversation. Maybe I can also briefly give some insights into my CV. I am originally from the banking sectors. I worked in impact investing, or have been working since 2010, where I started an Indian non-profit limited company, which was funded by banks and banking foundations. And in these past 15, 16 years, I can say I had a steep learning curve. We set up Social Synergy Deutschland, which is a sister organization of the Indian Social Synergy Foundation. And I would like to give you some insights into our learnings, because we had the chance to get a better perspective about not only how investors think, but also about how investees think. That's our perspective, and I'm sure my colleagues later will give a more in-depth insight, but maybe this is something for you to take home if you're interested. Okay, so I mentioned it, I'll give a brief introduction, then we will give live pitches with reaction by our investors. Then you are invited to give your feedback, and then hopefully we have quite a few takeaways and are able to put these insights into practice. The approach of Social Synergy Deutschland is institution building. We have learned that especially in the philanthropic sector, a lot of organizations are living from day to day, from one funding period to the next. And instead of helping to build stable institutions, stable organizations, it's more about programs. And that's what we think is not helpful for the organization itself. So we would like to provide institutional capital to these organizations. The intangibles such as reputation, community relationships, longevity, experience. This is what we found out in, I'm talking again about India because we have been working there since almost 15 years, is something which in some cases is still underestimated, but more and more organizations understand how helpful this is. And I'm talking about organizations whom we work with, like Ford Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, or Media Network. And what does it mean? It means that as an essential first step, funders must move beyond the programs, just doing things and according to what your funder wants. It's about asking your funder to help you and your organization that strategy and execution remain in harmony with the mission. Probably some of you have already recognized how fast mission drift can happen once an investor comes in and asks you to probably do things that might help you, but only in the short perspective. On the long term, they might even be harmful to your original mission. I don't want to go into all the details here, but I think what's also important is how can investors help you turn or transit a nonprofit into a hybrid organization. That's a good start, to have maybe even 2 different legal entities operating. And of course, again, it is important that you don't alter your mission. And finally, how can the nonprofit mobilize and secure funding that is really in line with your mission and that you don't get too opportunistic? I know that's difficult to step away from funding that is there instead of waiting for funding that works for you. What do we do for funders? Our organization is helping to build their portfolio. That's the funding side, the investor side you call it, advising on philanthropic capital, and designing and executing long-term institution building processes. My colleagues are spending really a lot of time, and it's not a one-off monitoring and then they're away again. It's really staying with the organization and helping them to become sustainable. That's what our organization is doing, and now very briefly our perception on what impact investors actually think. They are focusing on 2 outcomes: financial return and measurable positive impact. I think that's a given. The core question is always, can this create scalable impact with sustainable business models? And finally, impact is not philanthropy. It really is about long-term viability, and that still matters to those investors. So if you want to create interest among them, a clear, measurable thesis, a strong link between impact and revenue model, a scalable solution to a systemic problem, credible metrics, and evidence that there is a certain traction, that people, that customers, and every other stakeholder will trust in your model. And if you want to create skepticism, or if you want to avoid skepticism, of course, it shouldn't be about impact without measurable outcomes. I'm not a big fan of impact measurement, to be honest. I think in some cases, and the 2 models which we will see now are so obvious when it comes to impact, that there's, from my side at least, impact measurement is not even necessary in an academic sense. But that depends on each individual investor. Dependency on grants is difficult when you don't have a path to sustainability. That's what I mentioned at the beginning. That's running from one grant to the next, and there's no vision of how to become self-sustainable without grants. Then, of course, the founder mission is not matched by its execution ability. That means somebody has an idea, but the way to execute the idea is far from reality. And then, of course, impact shouldn't be disconnected from the business model. The mindset of an impact investor, a traditional VC will ask, how big can this organization become? This is not his only question, but his main question. An impact investor on the other side will ask, how meaningful and durable is this outcome? That's another part of their story. 4 core investor questions in detail. Is the startup big enough? Large social, environmental, or in the case of Ukraine, reconstruction relevance, plus financial sustainability. Second, does the model actually work? Which means, is there commercial viability and is there impact to a certain extent? Number 3, why are you the one who tries to solve this problem and overcome the problem? That means, how credible is your mission? How is your understanding of the local circumstances? Do you have relevant partnerships? And are you able to execute? And finally, what is the risk? What is the operational, the political, the reputational risk? Just to give some examples. So what will they evaluate, talking about measuring what you do? The strength of the impact thesis plays an important role, the quality of your team and its governance, timing and the relevance of the policy, the discipline of your partners, of your management, how sustainable is the model, and of course, alignment with SDGs and ESG and reconstruction priorities in the case of Ukraine will also help. Impact first, at least that's my opinion, maybe my colleagues will have a different opinion, often fails. Because investors, in 99% of all cases, will expect financial discipline. Pure mission without economics reduces the credibility. So my suggestion would be, impact should be integrated into a scalable business model. That's how it works. So the bottom line, impact investing is based on, first, can this create measurable long-term impact? Can it survive uncertainty? And can it attract additional capital and scale responsibility? That's what our organization has learned in the past 15 years working with large worldwide acting organizations and foundations, but also from going to the ground and having long conversations with our investees. Now, that's for me, that's from the more theoretical part of what we are discussing today. Now I would like to enter into the case studies. We have 2 organizations whom we would like to introduce. The first one is going to be Irina. She's going to introduce herself. She's representing Bank of Memories, which is an ecosystem for family memories and assets that you and you are going to help safely to transfer those into the next generation, which I think in the sad situation that Ukraine is in, this is definitely a relevant model, but it's a model which all over the world is attracting more and more interest. And yesterday we had a meeting with Irina, and she already mentioned that potential investors from other countries are knocking at their door. So with no further ado, Irina, maybe you briefly introduce yourself and do a 5-minute pitch. She has also, I'm going to hand you the clicker. Are you okay with sitting here? Or?
Yes, yeah. If you are all okay, I'm sitting here, I'm okay as well. So my name is Irina. I'm CEO and co-founder at the Bank of Memories. And as you correctly said, we are preserving the most important and critical information about families and passing it on to new generations. And when the full-scale war started in Ukraine, we realized that a product called Digital Memorial, which is a movie, which is a short documentary film about war, about our fallen heroes, about veterans. That's an extremely needed product in our market. So this is how a traditional commemoration practice looks like. Just a website, Wikipedia, or some other, whatever, like Facebook page or a picture. So it doesn't really give any information, any additional background on what actually happened with that person and what that person did to be a hero of Ukraine, for example. And on the other hand, there are families, families who lost someone during war, and they really feel that they are lost. So we decided that let's work with them, and it's kind of an art therapy, and create a movie together with them. We started with a city called Kalush in the western part of Ukraine. We just showed them the movie, and they said it's amazing. We want to have it for our city, and that's how it started. First, one city bought it, then another city bought it, and we realized that actually our main priority is that family doesn't pay for it. Family only gives us data and creates a movie together with us. It's designed for public spaces. It's available for everyone who is passing by. And that's actually the video from our events, how we commemorate our heroes of Ukraine. Right now, 2 million people already watched that movies in 43 countries, because we have a YouTube channel, which is we are advocating these practices online. And we believe that online practices and video format, that's very important. But we had to create some kind of system that you can see here on the screen. And by the way, Ukrainian Social Venture Fund invested in us to create this system, because we almost went crazy with all that information that was critical, and thousands of families gave us data, and it was impossible to manage it. And plus we needed some cybersecurity, because we constantly have attacks from Russian side on our servers, that they want to destroy all of that. And that's why we created the system. Now I can see everything, what is going on in every community. So right now, this system is used by municipalities, by the government, by small companies, where they can see the progress, what's going on, and how many movies we created. So far in the system, we have 200 projects running, and 1,500 already done. We calculated that together 4,500 families already worked with us and had the movie for their family and friends. And just to mention that for this couple of years we are operating, we became a partner for Yalta European Conference. That is a huge international event where presidents from other countries are coming, and we were creating the wall of heroes to attract attention to this topic, that we have to remember everyone in our country who are the heroes. And that's our trip to the UK, for example. So people around the world are interested in what's going on here in Ukraine, and they want to know stories. Because if you just tell something about facts and figures, well, it's okay. But if you tell stories, that's powerful. So our business model is that Digital Memorial is a single movie that is 160 euros per one movie. Then media platform that we are selling to communities and municipalities, they can actually create these movies on their own. And Platform Plus course, where imagine there is a community, and this community has no idea how to make movies, we teach them. So as I mentioned, we work for families, we work for companies and youth. We want to make sure that our social goals are achieved. So one important one is psychological resilience and support of families. Then a grateful and aware Ukrainian youth. And the last one is how communities commemorate. Our team is actually the best team to do that, because we have like 15 years of experience in business, and we already did in this industry, we have spent some time. Just for Ukraine, we are needing like 300K to reach almost 1 million euros. So that shows that our model is sufficient. We don't need grants. That's sufficient funding for us to grow in Ukraine internationally. That's our partners, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Irina. So I would now like to hand over to our three investors and to give you our brief insights on how you see these models, what probably you might want to add from your own experience in order to help Irina and her team, or to make suggestions. Please feel free to give us some comments. I would first probably start with Manuela again. Manuela?
Yes, thanks a lot. It's a little bit difficult to be the first among this, yes, very highly impressive pitch, because we all know that the background of it is not only like a business case, but it's really much more than I think a lot of investors will ever see in their lives. So thanks for the pitch. Maybe can I ask another question, because what I do understand is what the business model also touches is like combining two of the, let's say, several mega trends, having like a digital platform and really trying to commercialize a kind of digital content, curated digital content, which also serves like the social goals of linking migration, economic integration, and also the emotional and also the cultural and social well-being of a country like Ukraine. So the question I would have, and which not really clearly came out to me, and maybe that would be my only question and also advice, how could actually the business model be scaled, and what are your key partners and what are the key clients and customers that you are attracting, and also that you aim to attract in the next phase, where certainly scale up is also one of your key priorities? That's
Right.
what I would like to mention for the first reaction. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. That's right. So in Ukraine, first of all, we want to become a national operator and to be widespread in the country. That's the first step, and then the next move would be, of course, so that's a technology we created similar to Canva, but Canva is just for pictures, and our system is for video and content creation. So our next step we are already making and trying to make it and piloting in Finland, for example, to this technology with insurance companies, for example, life insurance. When people live their life and then they pass away, then this can be additional product to their life insurance across Europe. And then yesterday we were talking to with Volker, and he said that Germany could be a great market that I have not evaluated yet, but I know that the whole Europe is using insurance, and the insurance could be the main customer for this technology in Europe. Additionally, elderly homes as well, and institutions that are taking care of Ukrainians while there is war. I think to tell the stories as well. That can be next steps.
Thank you very much. I hope that's clarifying some of your questions. Ben, what's your immediate take with regard to that model?
First of all, thank you, Irina. That was a great presentation. I think it's a very interesting concept. I mean, you've brought it very far without much financing, so that's a great achievement in itself. Of course, unfortunately, with a very sad background. My question is, it seems like there is a tradition or a goal of doing public memorials for people, individuals, which is not so much a tradition here in Germany, but people very often do private videos, slideshows, whatever it is, for various occasions. Of course, funerals, but also before that, there's more and more a trend. People stay active and agile as seniors, and they want to pass on their experience and their knowledge to the kids and the grandkids. So there's quite a bit of a tendency for private private clients who are looking for solutions. They, in a country like Germany, they may actually be willing to pay whatever you mentioned, 160 euros or so for a film. But maybe there's also a possibility to offer it as a tool to private people so that they can put together their own movie. It's whatever, editing and filing tool. So the question is, are you addressing really mostly semi-public markets and semi-public customers? Or does it also go to purely private individuals who never want these videos to go outside of their private circle?
Thank you, Ben. Definitely, we so even now when we do the films paid by the government, they many of them are private. So families don't want them to be public. But most of families in Ukraine, they want it to be public so that others can learn the story. When we talk about B2C, we have, because we are operating without investments and just some support last year, for example. So it's definitely not enough to scale into B2C, and that's why we are trying to do like a Pareto principle, 80-20, and work with the government first. So every check of the government is like from 5 to 10,000 euros, and that I don't need to hire any additional workforce for that. I manage it on my own. If I want B2C, I need more money. I need money for scaling, but that's a good idea. That's kind of a Canva for video for families, and that's a really smart idea. It's just probably the next step.
Well, the good thing is you have a platform on which to train and on which to develop your skills and experience. And then you can use the funds you're receiving now to switch to a commercial model which goes B2C. But that, of course, is a wholly different scale. And it is competitive because there's quite a few players out there in Western markets that are already working on solutions like that. And partnerships like you mentioned, insurances or homes for the elderly and so on. These are, of course, great distribution channels for such products.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Benjamin. And of course, finally, I would also like to hand over to Volker to give his insights to the audience.
Thank you very much. I want to add some of my thoughts, Ben, and you're totally right with the business model and the scaling up. And my first impression was think big. In your presentation, okay, for Ukraine market, it will be okay. But if you think to go to international market and you talk to investors and you come and say, I need 300,000 euros, and that's for the most of them a little bit too small because they have costs, they have to prove your business model, they have advocacy costs and the relation between cost and the investment sum should be in a good relation. So think about how you need, make a big picture, and then from that perspective you can talk to them. Also, an advice from my side: you presentate the need of money 26, 27. Now we are in the midst of 26, and there's 18 months. In this period, you have to also to introduce the period 3 years, 5 years, perhaps 10 years, in my opinion, to show how the company can grow. Clear focus on mission and vision. What is your mission and vision? And also an advice from my side. Each people speak of impact. And if I ask here in this room, what is impact for you? I think you get 50 different opinions. It is also very important that you define your side of impact. What is impact for you? And though the investor can see if his definition of impact is also your definition of impact. And last point, very important for a startup is the other founder team. The investor have to be convinced that this founder team is the right team to scale up this business model.
Thank you very much, Volker. I think I'm kind of impressed how you the three of you, grasped the model because Irina only had 5 minutes, and from the feedback you gave, I think it shows how much experience you bring to the table, and I think it's also helpful for you in the audience to get an understanding of how investors think and how they approach a potential investment case. Thank you very much. And now we come to the second model. I would like to introduce Tetjana from VR Mentality. VR Mentality is a medical platform that helps to cure PTSD. She will definitely give you an explanation on this phenomenon in her pitch. And it's by using smell, sound, and visuals. So please, Tetjana, maybe you could use the next 5 minutes to give an introduction. And Manuela and Ben, in case you have difficulties hearing it, please let us know. Thanks.
Доброго дня, шановні учасники.
Good afternoon, dear participants. My name is Tatiana Gorska. I represent the project VR Mentality. This is innovative software for treatment of PTSD in veterans and civilians who were affected by the hostilities in Ukraine. In 2022, we all faced with the full-scale invasion. We were shocked, we were stressed, we didn't know what to do. We are a team of developers, of programmers who kept the residues of inspiration and decided to help as we can. And we've come up with an idea to create the software for treatment. Together with the Bogomolets University, together with Mr. Chaban's team, we started our research and we created the content while the university studied expositional therapy of PTSD. The studies, the research note to be very successful, and it turned out that such therapy is really productive, and that's why we created the platform for treating civilians and veterans faster than by means of classical means. Sometimes it's 6 times faster. Thus, we created a platform and we created a training. We train professionals, physicians, we train them in PTSD, and then we provide them with this software. And by means of this software, they are able to treat their patients faster, at the same time avoiding the burnout. Our system consists of 9 videos and guidelines for physicians. Physicians can diagnose the patients and work on the symptoms of PTSD. Our solution is constantly evolving. We would like to develop our project. We are planning to add AI module in our administrative panel. Then we also are planning to work with children. At the moment, we cooperate with the European Fraunhofer University. They propose to add smell stimulation, another trigger. So due to the stimulation, a veteran or a civilian can re-experience trauma, and after this re-traumatization, so to say, they can feel relief and start living normal life. We work with both public sector and with individual physicians or healthcare professionals. Our business model includes training of a physician. Training is ended with a certificate, and the training receives 45 credits. So this is Ministry of Health certification. Then the physician is going to receive the software, and the use of this software should be paid every month. Then we also provide specialized headsets. We receive support from the state or from investors or some funds, because the mental health area is very complicated. The physicians cannot learn on their own. That's why we must often contact hospitals or public authorities that can pay for this innovative technology that prevents burnout. Physicians should be able to work comfortably with patients, because during such therapy, a physician just wears the helm and can start about diagnosing and treating, applying CPT or classical medication therapy. Veterans agree to expositional VR therapy more eagerly usually, and we were really happy to present our project today. Please join. Hopefully together we are doing something very useful. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Мартін, всі, хто хочуть після воркшопу,
And everyone willing may test one of our scenarios after the workshop, just to get a feel of how it works in practice.
Same procedure again. Maybe Manuela, if you would be so kind to give your feedback on what you just heard and on the model and how you perceive it. Thank you.
Yes, thanks again for the great presentation. So I think what I really found very interesting and intriguing, because I think it will be highly relevant also in other contexts, is that the whole area of trauma-informed medical technology and interventions is really something that lends itself to scaling also to other jurisdictions. I think one of the major constraints and what we always say, like market barriers that I see, and I would really like to know how you approach it and also the experience in that field, is medicine and any kind of health sector interventions are very, very highly regulated. So how do you actually deal with topics like the data security, how you deal with actually getting into the hospitals, and also have you had relationships or any kind of strategic partnerships with health systems, with actors from the sectors in other countries, depending on, let's say, the targets that you are actually already developing?
Tatjana?
Thank you.
Дуже дякую за питання.
Thank you so much for your question. It has been the key challenge for us because indeed it's a healthcare industry. So when we started to work with medical VR content, the top item on our agenda was to complete official Ukrainian studies, make a publication in international peer-reviewed journal, receive certified training by the Ministry of Health, receive Class 2 medical device certificate. We do have it. So in Ukraine, we are compliant with all regulations. We are free to cooperate with hospitals. Currently, we also cooperate with the German Fraunhofer Institute. We cooperate with them. We're doing a separate study, and based on the results of this study, a new treatment guideline will be developed. Basically, the existing one, Ukrainian guideline, will be supplemented and amended. And then we will be able to submit submit documents to get a license in Europe. Fraunhofer Institute is focused on dealing with medical healthcare institutions in Europe. They are potentially interested in selling these technologies to Charité and our software to Charité and other big healthcare players. They want to take our software and combine it with their equipment. So they're really interested to complete the study in Ukraine and then potentially propose a commercial model for Europe. In Europe, we also potentially may apply for a license. And maybe we will be able to work in Ukrainian clinics similarly to what we do in Ukrainian. Because as you know, there are a lot of Ukrainian refugees in EU. Many refugees and IDPs have lost their housing in Ukraine, are currently staying in Germany. And not just in Germany, in other EU member states, there are a lot of Ukrainians as well. 10 million Ukrainians are currently staying abroad, so I believe that we are going to find a client base in Europe.
Thank you very much. Ben, what's your initial take?
Again, this is something that is born out of the situation in Ukraine. I guess there's so many patients that have very severe PTSD traumas. So you probably have the advantage of being able to develop a superior technology, but other countries, when you bring it to other countries, will ask the question, how effective is it? So I think the main challenge is to prove the effectiveness of the solution in every country that you're planning to enter. And I think the right way to do it, as you are doing it, is with partners like Charité that can verify and adapt all the certification methods to the local standards. And that's really the right way to go. And I think you have huge potential to open up other markets. Fortunately, Germany is probably not the most affected, but there are other countries that are at war or in crisis situations where the demand will be even bigger than here, and where you have a high ability and willingness to pay for such solutions if they prove to be superior. I think the first challenge is to prove that it is actually something that other technologies cannot achieve.
Thank you, Ben. I think that was more a statement than a question. Thanks a lot. And going through this conversation, I can already, from my perspective at least, say that you show, all three of you, show that you are really sector agnostic and have a lot of understanding of the models themselves, and that's what exactly what we were looking for. So maybe now I would like to again hand over to Volker to give us his feedback.
Thank you. First comment, the same question as in the presentation before, mission, vision, and business plan. Second, proof of concept. I think proof of concept must be shown here in Ukraine, and then you can think about other European countries. I'm not sure if Germany is not a good place for that, because we have also a lot of patients and needs of these technologies. But the question in Germany is how pays for that? It's are the public insurance companies, and if the public insurance companies have to pay for that, you have to step in the list of services they pay, and that is one effort to come into this list. It is helpful that you work together with Fraunhofer or with Charité, but the people who decide to pay for that are the CEOs, the bosses of the insurance companies, and you have to convince them. And for that, I think you need an advisor who can fasten this process, and you need local support in Germany, for example, to step in this list.
Tatjana,
maybe to add one thing, sorry. In Germany, there's a concept called digitales Rezept.
Right.
So you can officially be recognized by the government insurance scheme to be reimbursed. So you would have to end up on that list, and they have a certain certification process. You'd have to go through the certification process, and once you do, users can actually get reimbursed for using your app.
Thank you, Ben. And maybe before we wrap up, Tatjana, did you already talk to insurers or insuring companies, the aspect which especially Volker just mentioned?
Thank you so much for your question. Well, we haven't yet talked to European insurers because for now we are focused on Ukrainian market. As a commercial organization, sure, clearly, well, for now, all hospitals independently pay for access to the service, and some foundations, NGOs may fund it. In Ukraine, we don't yet have this well-developed medical reimbursement system. The National Health Service doesn't yet cover innovative technologies, but we're working on it. We have signed MOUs and contracts with some public institutions, such as the Ministry of Veteran Affairs. Because right now in Ukraine, the problem of mental health is really acute, and we expect that the first PTSD center in Ukraine will be officially launched. So hopefully we will cross this landmark milestone, and we will build cooperation with the government reimbursers.
Thank you very much. I think that wraps it up, and we officially have run out of time, but Olena was kind enough to give us another 10 minutes. Is that true? Yes. Okay. So I would like to give you the opportunity, to give the audience the opportunity to either ask some questions or give your statements. From my own perspective, do you think there were some reactions which stayed with you the most, where you say, this is something which I could use for my own work? That's something which I initially would like to ask you.
Хто хотів би поділитися?
Who may want to share your feedback? Well, then I think it would be...
Дякую вам
Thank you so much for this amazing project. I have a question for you. First, why Kalosh? I'm asking this question because we also work in Kalosh right now. And my second question is about your competitors. Have you reviewed the market? Did you do the market research? I know that some other companies also work with visual methods. So do you have any competitors globally? Please name me 3 global competitors and why you better than your competitors. Maybe it's a really simple question, but it would be great to listen. I really like your attitude and because we really need to build positive image about our fallen soldiers. It must be about gratitude and appreciation. Yes, thank you so much for your question. Yes, indeed, when we started to work with Kalosh, it was a pure accident, because the city mayor accidentally saw this movie, and he said, well, we needed it, we want it, let's do it. And we were like, okay, fine, great. We were a bit surprised, we didn't expect it. We hoped for partnerships with NGOs, maybe Ukrainian diaspora, but the city said, well, it's our responsibility, it's our moral imperative to do so. Then others just followed their own model, they loved it, and now we're doing it in Kiev region, Mykolaiv region, Kherson region, Kirovograd region, Ivano-Frankivsk region, Rivne region. We are present at all these locations. And as for competitors, well, it's not like competitors because it's about our memory. So the more people are doing something, even in improvised manner at their own laptop, it's cool. Globally, there is company Torn Hearts from United States. They don't do films, but they do beautiful pages, applications about people. You can leave notes. It's a big company. It's headquartered in Utah. There is also American Story Wars. They write stories. They publish books of stories. But it's very difficult to produce videos. It's a big work. And we have people trained by military psychologists. They follow the family from point A to point B, so it's also combined with the art therapy. So we dive really deep. We have registered our copyright, so people don't make money on it. If they want to use it commercially, they had to get our licenses. Otherwise, it's illegal. Otherwise, we don't mind people sitting at home making similar videos, but our know-how, our knowledge on how to manage families, how to manage grief, how to properly channel it, and which stories to share, it's our experience, and you cannot just get it overnight. You need to work on it, and you need to have your mission. So you not just generate money, you follow mission. It starts with our family, and we think it's really important. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
One more, and
one
then
more question from the audience, or one statement from the audience. Okay. Well, then maybe I finish this session with something I mentioned at the very beginning of the presentation when I said we would also like to look into the future. I see this today as the first opportunity for an exchange between investors, or let's call it the ecosystem in the West, with you over here. This is something which we want to continue starting in June, where we will initially have a first online meetup between investors and investees, something which has been funded by German government and which hopefully can lead to a better understanding of both sides of this equilibrium between let's call it Ukraine, Germany, and Western Europe. And as a mission or as a vision for us during this process, I see that we hopefully can create a case study, and we will introduce some of you into this model. We will invite you into this conversation, and I'm definitely sure that during this process in the coming 1.5, 2 years, we will, at least some of you, we will meet again, and I'm looking forward to this process. From my perspective, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from how investors see what you have presented to them, how different some models are and how typical they are, because they have been started during war times in a very specific situation. And still I see a lot of opportunities to use this model and to bring back progress and new inventions for the West as well, which we already see in other areas of the economy. So thank you very much for joining, and thank you very much to Olena, who made this possible. I'm working with Olena and her team since almost 3 years now, and can only say I highly appreciate the way she is cooperative and the way she is really pulling through, because I know it's a lot of work for her. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Дуже дякую нашим.
Thank you so much. We're grateful to our participants. You know, it wasn't that easy just to stand here in front of the audience and present your project, but well, it was done for you, so hopefully it was useful. You benefited from learning the actual investor perspective, because all of you, like me, you are emotionally biased. We believe in our companies, and during such demonstration days, we may sometimes ignore some minor things because you were nervous, you know. But now you have received a realistic feedback, and maybe this feedback will highlight some things that you need to bring your attention of your teams to.
To Volker, to Ben, and to Manuela, who, in the case of Volker, spent a whole week to come over here during his working time, but also to Manuela and Ben, who are also spending part of their valuable time for us in this session. Thank you.
Зараз я попрошу на цю
So now I will invite to the stage Olga Golevska-Bashtova,
as a panel, яка є координатором.
She's a coordinator of our mentor school. She spent a lot of time and effort to bring us together, to bring together your feedback, check your homeworks, collect your feedback. So, you know, we were collecting it, we were waiting for it, we were doing check, we were checking your homeworks. And Olga will now do some introductions and tell you why some of you don't get certificates. Okay, Elena, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. I'm really happy to see you today in this hall. I'm really happy to welcome those who are joining us online, and I want to bring you back from mentorships to the role of students. Next slide, please. Let's recall that since February 11th, we have worked together to improve our skills and get some new knowledge. And hopefully our efforts were not in vain, and that we gave you some momentum and some new opportunities for improvement. But like in a regular school, we have A students and we have F students. So, we still decided that at this mentor scale-up, we used to have 50 mentors who were undergoing the course. Unfortunately, only 40 of them reached the finale by completing their homework. So now certificates will be given only to those who have paid efforts and who have gave some momentum to collect this homework. And now we're about to deliver certificates to our first 11 best students. Alena, please. No, Anna.
So we've got 11 best students. Please come up to the stage, Miss Nadia Bidun. She has successfully completed the training arranged by SILAP and Ukrainian Venture Fund, and now she's got enough skills to be a mentor for impact businesses, women-led business, and she's ready to support businesses. The certificate has been signed by all stakeholders. Miss Nadia. Білоус Катерина. Анастасія Бурза. Анастасія is online. Світлана Герасевич. Thank you. Катерин Пухаренко. Марина Маслова. Роман Миневич. Евгения Мороз, she is offline. Олена Обухова, she's also online. Володимир Орос, I've seen Vladimir today. Tatiana Savkina, I have seen her also. That's it for the best students. Сергій Бобик. The next wave of students with best grades. Thank you for being with us. Наталья Большова. Ірина Бурсук.
Аліна Бочарнікова онлайн. Аліна, вітаємо.
Аліна Бочарнікова. She's online.
Павло.
Павло Булгаков.
Вершигора Олеся.
Олеся Вершигора.
Воєдила Анастасія.
Анастасія Воєдила. She's also online.
Головкіна Олена онлайн.
Олена Головкіна. She's online, as far as I understand.
Олена, я засвідчую, що сертифікат є.
Олена, here is your certificate.
Гончаров Андрій. теж
Андрій
онлайн.
Гончаров. He is also online.
Дресляникова Наталя онлайн десь приїхала на Західну Україну, що я бачила.
And another
Євтушенко
graduate.
Вікторія
She
онлайн.
went to the Western Ukraine yesterday. Вікторія Євтушенко.
Корнелюк Сергій онлайн.
Сергій Корнелюк. He is online.
Лучин Олена онлайн.
Олена Лучин, also online.
Аліна Марненко мала повернутися сьогодні з не було.
Аліна Марненко
Я не знаю, чи ти бачиш, потім
should
побачиш,
have
що
come
це.
back today, but I have not seen you.
Михайлова
Here
Ірина.
is your certificate. Ірина Михайлова.
Бачила?
I have seen you.
Бачила? З 50 нещасних 15 людей приїхало. Мосичук Марія.
Марія Мосичук.
Неміська Юліана онлайн.
Юліана Неміська. She is online.
Так. І фотографуватися теж. Орловська Анна.
Анна Орловська.
Зараз, ми вже окремо зробимо. Без цього сертифікату, так. Так. Воєдила Анастасія.
Анастасія Воєдила.
Дякую.
Thank you.
Охріменко Каріна.
Каріна Охріменко.
Онлайн.
She's online.
Пархоменко Павло.
Павло Пархоменко.
Я ж вже чекаю, я ж бачу, хто з нами. Так. Пономаренко Тетяна.
Тетяна Пономаренко.
Бачите, незважаючи на те, що у нас 3 програми конкретні.
You see, we've got 3 programs.
Навіть члени нашої команди, тому що Іра теж і Таня пройшли. Потоцька Вікторія.
Вікторія Потоцька.
Пшенична Дар'я онлайн.
Дар'я Пшенічна. She's online.
Маруся Романова онлайн.
Маруся Романова. She is online. We'll give it to you as soon as we meet
Катя
you.
Уварова теж онлайн.
Катя Уварова. She's also online.
Євгенія Уманець.
Євгенія Уманець. Our Zhenya has a plan, and she's also our team member, and she has a plan to get a certificate every year. Anna Chuba. Anya, I'll give it to you as soon as we meet you. As we meet. And Marina Shurdenko, I have seen her somewhere here. Okay, I'm really grateful to you for being our graduates. You have completed training successfully. You have finished your homework, although you are very busy. Thank you very much for working with us. Thank you for feedback, and it's very important for us. And we basically learn from each other, because Zhenya, Ira, Tanya are financial experts, while Sergei Korneliuk is an expert in another field of knowledge, but we all learn together. Nadia, today we don't have homework for you. Nadia, you have not completed the homework. As soon as you complete your homework, you will get the certificate. I think it's really fair. Now we're going to have a break, and after this break we will enjoy the performance. The theater team has also started with us. They participate in our incubation program. So now you may proceed to the hall to get a glass of wine, and then you will enjoy the play. And please scan the QR code on your badges, on your nameplates. It's very important for us to get your feedback. Please fill out the form. And you see, this is what means working with the Swedish guys. They track KPIs very thoroughly. We felt this meticulous approach last year. Okay, so please scan the QR code and provide us your feedback. And if you are willing to try VR mentality, you are welcome to do this. Yesterday they created new scenario. But this scenario is for those who experienced captivity.